Hello again, the Fry Life! And everyone else watching, of course. I am back with better lighting, a better angle, and a list so I don't forget what I'm talking about. This is my 5 things about depression and anxiety. 5 tips, 5 advice, whatever you would like to call it. And if you would like to check out, I also did a 5 tips about TMJ disorder, or temporomandibular joint disorder. And that'll be the video before this one. So go check that out if you haven't. And yeah, here we go. So 5 things about depression and anxiety. Number 1. So my personal story is, first of all, this is not my first time dealing with depression or anxiety. In fact, the reason I have TMJ disorder is because of my anxiety. I was taking my stress out of my sleep. I grind my teeth when I sleep, so it's not something you can really stop. It's not something you can really prevent. It's just what happens to some people, unfortunately. So I do have a mouth guard. I should have said this in my TMJ disorder video that way. And it's helped a lot. It's definitely helped a lot. It's helped it from getting worse anyway. I wouldn't say it's helped it from getting any better as far as my joint disorder goes. My anxiety is just, I'm still struggling with that. But for a while I considered it pretty manageable, so it was alright. And my depression, my first struggle with depression was in 2011 with TMJ disorder. I was depressed because I had chronic pain. I was learning to live a new way. I'd lived my entire life pretty healthy, and now I had to live every day waking up with my face not feeling right. But I felt like my depression was normal then, like it made sense for me to be depressed about that. So I didn't really question it or look into any sort of treatment for it. I figured if I treat my chronic pain, it'll get my depression better, and it was true for that. I did get better. It took about probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years, but I did eventually get better. So, in the middle of April this year, I got a cold, and I thought, oh, it's just a cold, I'll be fine. I'll get better. But it was also my 3rd cold of the year, and I was pretty bummed out about getting my 3rd cold of the year. Like, it's like getting sick once or twice is okay, and it should be like maybe at the beginning of the year and the end of the year. This is 2015, and I've already been sick 3 times. So it was not good for me. I was also in my final week of classes at my art school, and I was pretty stressed out. I wasn't really into the class I was in anyway, so that on top of being sick kind of wore me down. I was also in the middle of looking for an apartment with my roommate, and it wasn't going very well. We weren't having much luck, and it was pretty nerve-wracking. So I was pretty stressed out and sick and upset, so I ended up having panic attacks for 2 weeks straight. Like 3 to 5 times a day. I could not live comfortably in my own skin. I even had my first panic attack on the road driving back home to my mom's to live there for 2 months. And I just felt so out of control in my life. I've never felt that out of control. My anxiety was at its peak during that time. So I went home because I knew I needed help. I knew I shouldn't be alone with something like this. I knew it wasn't going to get better by me trying to deal with it on my own. So I came home, and it took some time. At first I got my new doctor. The one good thing about getting depression and anxiety is that I should be looking at the camera. It's hard. I keep checking my face over here. The one good thing about it is that it did get me to, I finally got medical insurance, which I had not had for about a year. We didn't even know I didn't have it. I thought it was still my mom's plan, but it expired. So we got onto that, and yeah, so I got health insurance, and it made my copays much cheaper than they were originally, which is great. But I got my first doctor since my last doctor, which I loved my last doctor, and it's a shame that he won't see me with my insurance, but here we are. They wanted me to try taking vitamins more often and exercising more just to help my just to help my depression and anxiety. And it sort of helps, but I'm pretty sure I needed more, and I could feel that. And I talked to some online counselors, and they told me if I feel that way, I should look into a psychiatrist. So I did, and I found a psychiatrist I really loved. She's awesome, and now I'm being treated for depression, anxiety, and insomnia. So I'm doing much better than I was throughout most of April into the beginning of June. So it does get better. I know it sucks, but so number 2, I have an emotional support dog now. And I do live in an apartment, so that search ended up turning out for the best. And if you would like to see my emotional support dog, her name is Elvira. She is a Husky Australian Shepherd mix. And I adopted her from a shelter, because that's how I believe you should do it. And she is a year old, and I've had her for a few weeks now, so I am trying to train her. She does know sit very well now, and she's getting better with her leash manners, but we have a long way to go as far as training. It's going to be hard to see her. She's by the window, but she's right there. And if you want to see her, actually, I do have a bunch of videos of me and her at the dog parks and stuff, because that's the kind of stuff I like to film. So, number 3 would be positive ideas for getting through depression and anxiety. Now, this is just like any chronic pain or illness. This is something that there's no one thing that is going to help you. You have to try other things. Not everything that worked for one person is going to work for you. Because I know people are like, when you're depressed, don't listen to sad music and stuff, and don't watch stuff about other people who are depressed. But honestly, watching comedy shows and stuff would actually make me kind of mad. Like, I was like, why are they so happy, and why can't I be that happy, and why do I deserve this? So, for me, I prefer to watch stuff. There's a great YouTube called Project You Are Okay. And they talk about depression, anxiety, any sort of mental illness you can think of, they have it. And they even, I think there's some people in there with chronic pain as well, which there's no surprise there. They're awesome, though. They were one of the first people I found during this journey this year. And, yeah, hearing other people talk about it and promise that you're okay and it's going to get better, and hearing that daily helped me. I don't know if it'll help everyone, so I'm not going to say you should do that if you don't think it's going to help. If you don't think it's going to help, it's probably not going to. So you just have to find stuff that works for you. If you find something that you even enjoy a little bit, stick with that. And it will start to help you feel better. Don't just stick with that, though. You do need help. You should talk to an online counselor, which I am part of 7 Cups of Tea, and they're great. It's just free online counseling. You can do it anonymously, or you can do it with a username and stuff, and you can do group chats, or you can do one-on-one chats, and the people there are super nice, and if they're not nice, you can report them or something, but I've never dealt with anyone I didn't really like as far as nice goes. So I think it's definitely something worth looking into. And yeah, psychiatrists, if you find the right one, sometimes you're not going to click with a psychiatrist, and that's okay. There's other ones out there. I was lucky enough where my first one is somebody who I clicked with right away. She's awesome. She talks to me like a person that you just met versus someone like a patient. And I like that. It feels more cozy. Her office feels very zen. And she even has a therapy dog that comes with her to work. And that's kind of where I get my idea for an emotional support dog. So yeah. Definitely try to stay positive. I know it's really, 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 really hard with depression and anxiety. And number 4 would be getting better tips. Everything I just said, honestly, is going to make you feel better. I'm sorry if you hear yelling. There's somebody in the hallway here. So my getting better tips would be find something that works for you. Don't give up if one thing doesn't work for you. Keep looking. Support group is great. If you have any friends or family who you can tell about your depression, anxiety, any sort of mental illness, please tell them. I promise that they will help you. I had a friend who would come over and see me every day while I was back home with my mom and just sit and watch TV with me, even if I was just glum and down, because she's had depression before and she knew how bad that was going to feel for me. So and then number 5 would be, there's no one way. There's just like what I just said in the last 2. You have to find something that works for you. It's not always going to be it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It's several things, honestly. I do take vitamins now, but it's mostly because they're going to help my jaw, not because of the depression and anxiety. Honestly, I needed medication for that, and I'm so happy I did, because if you had told me in May that I was going to feel this good in August, I wouldn't have believed you. And that's how bad it was. My depression was so bad where I was at the point where I wanted something to happen to me. I didn't want to kill myself, but I wanted something to just make my life stop. And I'm so happy I held on, even though there were countless hopeless days. And every night when I went to bed, I was like, why am I going to bed just to wake up to the same thing tomorrow? But it gets better. I know it's annoying to hear that when you're in the middle of it, but I promise it does. And I'm so thankful people kept telling me that. Especially if you can find a support group of people who have dealt with it before or continue to deal with it but are better, you should stick with these people because they're going to help you a lot. So this video's gone on for a long time. I should probably take my dog outside for her afternoon potty break, and she's actually here, so we will end the vlog with her. Say goodbye, everybody, Elvira. Goodbye. Goodbye, guys. I'm looking at the camera again.